Listen family, if you happen to answer to the name of anybody who ever doubted Cardi B, you might want to sit down, close the fridge, put your phone on Do Not Disturb, and cancel whatever plans you thought you had for the next 20 minutes, because what just went down at that Old Navy launch party in the last 48 hours is the kind of pop culture earthquake that rearranges the whole industry map. I'm telling you right now, this ain't a story, this is a full-blown coronation dressed up as a scandal, and by the time we finish peeling this thing back layer by layer, you're going to understand why the algorithm is about to bury every other rapper's news cycle underneath the tidal wave that Cardi B just personally released into the atmosphere. And baby, when I say tidal wave, I mean the kind of wave that flips yachts, drowns podcasts, and repaints the entire streaming leaderboard overnight. So grab your snacks, silence your group chats, pause the laundry, and let's crack this open together. Because this is the kind of moment that separates the culture reporters from the culture historians, and we do the second one over here. Because here's the moment that broke the internet before most of y'all even had your morning coffee. Cardi B, the face of the brand new Old Navy campaign, the biggest denim rollout Old Navy has produced in a decade, pulled up to the most wanted launch party in Los Angeles, and instead of doing the polite little photo op the corporate brand people wanted her to do, Cardi B decided to go on Instagram live and torch every single hater who spent the last 2 weeks accusing her of being a paid mannequin. You heard me right, a paid mannequin. That was the accusation floating across every gossip feed on the timeline. People were straight up saying Cardi B doesn't even wear Old Navy jeans, that Cardi B is only in the campaign because the check cleared, that Cardi B wouldn't be caught dead in a pair of Old Navy denims in real life. And when I first saw those posts crawling through my feed, I said to myself, oh, they don't know Cardi B at all, do they? Because if there is one artist in the entire music industry who does not know how to fake a moment, it is Cardi B, and the internet was about to receive that lesson in high definition. Now, before we get any deeper into what Cardi B actually said on that live stream, I need y'all to understand the strategic power move that Cardi B is executing here, because it's easy to miss if you're only watching the surface. Cardi B did not have to address the haters. Cardi B did not have to explain her wardrobe. Cardi B is a Grammy-winning, chart-topping, diamond-certified icon who could have simply blocked the noise and kept it moving. But Cardi B chose confrontation over silence, and that choice, that specific, deliberate, unapologetic choice, is exactly why the algorithm is going to reward her with visibility numbers that most artists only dream about. You feel me? Because in 2026, the artists who win are the ones who refuse to shrink, and Cardi B has never shrunk a day in her life. Not on the reality show, not on the promo circuit, not on the divorce filing, not on the Grammy stage, not in front of a courthouse, and certainly not on a live stream where the whole world is watching to see whether she blinks. And baby, Cardi B doesn't blink. So Cardi B goes live, and the very first thing she does is address the whole "she doesn't wear designer" narrative head-on, but not in the way anybody expected. Instead of getting defensive, Cardi B gave the internet a full anatomy lesson. She explained, and this is a quote you're going to see reposted 100,000 times in the next 24 hours, that because of her body, because of the shape she carries, because of what she has openly and repeatedly called her Uganda-sized hips, the high-fashion designer brands simply do not build denim that fits her frame. Cardi B said, and I want you to hear the confidence in this delivery, that outside of Acne Studios, there is barely a luxury label on the planet that cuts a jean to accommodate a 5'3" woman with hips wider than the runway model average. And you know what? Cardi B is not wrong. Cardi B is telling on the fashion industry in a way nobody in her tax bracket has been brave enough to do. Because the dirty little secret of luxury denim is that the entire industry is built for one silhouette, long-legged, low-hip, sample size, and every woman who does not fit that mold has been paying full retail for jeans she is going to have to tailor anyway. Cardi B just told the truth about that on Instagram Live in real time, without a publicist filtering the message. Keep in the back of your head, this is the same Cardi B who has spent nearly a decade being scrutinized by the fashion press, being told her body is too curvy, too enhanced, too loud for the runway aesthetic. And now Cardi B is standing at the top of the mountain on retainer with Old Navy, and using her platform to say what millions of women with the same body type have been trying to say for years: the industry does not build for us, so the industry is going to have to catch up. That is not just a talking point, folks. That is a manifesto. And Cardi B delivered it while dancing to her own record at her own launch party, which is the kind of casual power move that only Cardi B could pull off without it looking rehearsed. There is no PR firm on the planet you could pay to script a moment that natural. That moment is only available to artists who have lived every syllable of the message they are delivering. And Cardi B has lived every syllable. But here's where the whole story flips, because Cardi B was not done. Oh no. Cardi B was just warming up. She looked directly into the camera and said, with the confidence of a woman who has nothing left to prove, that she would go on Instagram Live one day soon, walk into an Old Navy store in broad daylight, and try on jeans in real time so the entire world could witness what fits her body and what doesn't. That is not a promise. That is a challenge to every hater who ever questioned her authenticity. And I don't know if y'all understand what that means for the Old Navy brand equity, but let me spell it out. Cardi B just handed Old Navy the single most valuable earned media event of the fiscal year. For free, live, unscripted, and unstoppable. Every marketing executive in Manhattan is watching this replay right now and crying tears of pure gratitude. Because you cannot buy that. You cannot manufacture that. You cannot brief that into existence in a corporate boardroom. You can only earn it by hiring an artist who lives loud enough to make her own commercials. Now let's peel the layer back on something else Cardi B said during that same live stream, because this part hit a lot of parents right in the chest. Cardi B explained why she chooses the outfits she wears when she goes to her children's school events. She said, and I'm paraphrasing lightly, that when she walks into her kids' school functions she is already different from every other parent in the room because she is Cardi B, because she is a global celebrity, because her presence alone shifts the temperature of the whole gymnasium. So she deliberately dresses down. She deliberately covers up. She deliberately chooses Old Navy and Gap and Fashion Nova over the tight, revealing high glamour looks she can absolutely afford, because she does not want her children to be embarrassed. She does not want her children to feel the weight of her fame overshadowing their own moments. She said, quote-unquote, that she does not want the other parents whispering, "Oh God, look at that." Because that whisper, that shift in the room would land on her kids, and Cardi B is protecting her kids first, second, and always. You following? That right there is a masterclass in celebrity motherhood that nobody is going to give Cardi B credit for, but I'm giving it to her right now on this recording. Because how many icons at her level have that level of self-awareness? How many megastars think that far ahead about how their fame ripples out onto their children? Not many. Not many at all. And Cardi B just quietly reminded the world that behind the diamonds and the chart records, there is a mother making thoughtful, deliberate, layered decisions every single day that most of the public never even considers. There are women out here who have never headlined a Coachella stage who cannot make a parenting decision that considered about a Tuesday PDA meeting, and Cardi B is out here doing it while sitting on top of a billion streams. That is not a coincidence. That is character. Alright, moving on folks, because we haven't even gotten to the messy part yet. And trust me, this is where it starts to get real interesting. So during that same Instagram live, Cardi B did something Cardi B has been doing a lot lately. She started rapping her own music, dancing to her own beats, and dropping little lyrical bombs that the internet is currently trying to decode line by line. And in the middle of that impromptu performance, Cardi B casually declared that she wasn't worried about any man on this planet, except one. Except one. She let that word hang in the air like a fresh manicure. Except one. And every gossip account with a working Wi-Fi connection immediately hit pause, rewound the clip, and screen recorded that exact 3-second window. Because a Cardi B except one is the kind of quote that pays a blog's mortgage for the whole quarter. Now, seeing as everybody with a working Wi-Fi connection has been tracking Cardi B's dating life for the last 6 months, the entire internet immediately went into detective mode. Because who is the one? And the working theory, and I want to be clear that this is a theory circulating widely across the culture right now, is that the one Cardi B was referring to is none other than Maduka, the Nigerian soccer star who has been spotted with Cardi B on multiple continents in the last 30 days. Maduka has been on the periphery of the Cardi B story since Cardi B's separation from Offset, and Maduka has been slowly, deliberately, and strategically moving into the spotlight next to Cardi B in a way that suggests this is not a fling. This is a rollout. And in the celebrity dating industrial complex, a rollout looks very different from a hookup. A rollout involves matching outfits, coordinated locations, deliberately timed sightings, and a communications team quietly nudging paparazzi in the right direction. A rollout is choreography, and what Cardi B and Maduka are running looks a lot more like choreography than coincidence. But here's where the whole story flips again, because Maduka is not a clean slate. Maduka has been publicly accused, by the mother of his own child, of some genuinely troubling behavior. Maduka's ex has come forward alleging that Maduka once put her and their child out of the home. Maduka has been accused of putting his hands on her. Maduka has been described in the tabloids as a man with a track record. And that is the part of this story that a certain portion of the Cardi B fanbase is not ready to talk about, because they want the fairy tale, they want the romantic Venice date, they want the ocean breeze balcony fantasy, they want the redemption arc where Cardi B finally finds a man who deserves her. But keep in the back of your head, Cardi B has been down this road before. Cardi B has been through the Offset chapter. Cardi B has been through the Stefan Diggs chapter. And Cardi B has emerged from both of those chapters more successful, more powerful, and more culturally central than she was going into them. So maybe, and I'm just floating this out there, maybe the pattern here is not that Cardi B keeps picking the wrong man. Maybe the pattern is that Cardi B keeps turning the wrong man into fuel for her own ascension. Let that sit with you for a second. Because if you look at the raw numbers, and we are about to get into the raw numbers, Cardi B does not lose. Cardi B has never lost. Every single time the tabloids write Cardi B off, Cardi B comes back with a record that eats the charts alive, a brand deal that reshapes an industry, and a public appearance that resets the news cycle. That is not luck. That is not coincidence. That is a woman who has figured out the algorithm of celebrity itself, and she is operating it with the precision of a chess grandmaster. And the funny part is, the tabloids still have not caught on. They keep printing the same recycled prediction that Cardi B is about to collapse, and every quarter Cardi B posts another win to make them look foolish. At some point, the industry is going to have to update the model, but until then, Cardi B is content to keep collecting checks off the outdated one. Which brings us, finally, to the piece of news that I honestly believe is the biggest headline of Cardi B's entire career, and it happened almost quietly, almost in the shadow of the Old Navy drama, and I need y'all to understand why this matters. Cardi B just became the first female rapper in the entire history of the United States of America to hold 4 diamond certified singles. You hear what I said? 4 diamond certified singles. Not gold, not platinum, not double platinum, diamond. Which means each one of those 4 songs has sold or streamed the equivalent of at least 10 million units in the American market. A threshold that the vast majority of artists in the history of recorded music will never touch even once in a career. And Cardi B just did it 4 times. 4 times. In an industry where the average headline single peaks at gold and then disappears from the conversation inside of 90 days. And which 4 songs pulled Cardi B across that finish line? Let me hand them to you in order because each of them tells its own story. First, Bodak Yellow, the record that introduced Cardi B to the world, the record that took her from reality television side character to legitimate lyricist, the record that hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 back when the industry was still convinced Cardi B was a novelty act. That single alone made history as the first solo #1 by a female rapper in almost 2 decades, and it opened a door that had been welded shut since Lauryn Hill's peak. Second, I Like It, the crossover smash featuring Bad Bunny and J Balvin that fused Latin trap with New York boom bap and dragged Cardi B into international superstardom. That single put Cardi B on the passport of every Spanish-speaking market on earth, and it is one of the reasons Cardi B can now sell out arenas in cities where English is a second language. Third, Girls Like You alongside Maroon 5, the pop crossover that proved Cardi B was not just a rap phenomenon but a mainstream cultural centerpiece. That single racked up billions of views on the music video alone and lodged Cardi B into the adult contemporary radio format that most rappers cannot buy their way into. And fourth, WAP with Megan Thee Stallion, the record that broke the entire cultural discourse in half, the record that